Okay, right, we've got a new toy. We've got a little Kubota tractor, and I'm going to show you around, talk you through what it does. This particular model is new to the UK market, so I'm going to talk through what's different about it from other ones. So let's get to it. Right, this is a compact tractor. It's a Kubota EK1-261. The 26 Kubota numbers are the 26 refers to the horsepower. So if it was a 36, it'd be 36 horsepower, but that's generally what it is. Now the EK is sort of economy line, but I'd struggle to find the economy bits on it because this is a pretty impressive tractor. They retail at about £9,500 plus VAT, or I think it's 15,000 including VAT for the with the loader on there. So what you've basically got, four-wheel drive tractor. It has 9 forward, 3 reverse. It's got some really nice features actually, so I'll go through them bit by bit. So obviously 4x4, I've got agricultural tyres because I've got some very steep land. I'll do a separate video to show you how this mows on steep land, and I wanted a loader to be able to shift stuff and also to balance a little bit the weight when I've got a heavy topper on the back. But let's talk about some of the features. So as with most tractors, you've got reversible wheels, so these are out the full width. So you can see you've got a little bit more stability. It's classed as a compact tractor, but slightly bigger than the BX series. So it's a larger frame, and the sharp-eyed amongst you will have noticed that it's not hydrostatic on this. It's a traditional manual, which actually I like for what I use, because I'm sort of setting a machine up and then just going with it for doing a couple of acres at a time sort of a thing. That's easier, I find, with a traditional manual. But if you've got lots of small trees like going in and out of an orchard, having the hydrostatic pedal where you've got forward and reverse straight away there is a little bit easier. But again, hydrostatic, like an automatic on a car versus a manual, it takes a little bit of power to run the hydrostatic. But that's where there's some cost savings on this. But you try and find the other cost savings on here, and there really aren't any. It's very traditional Kubota, standard quality machinery. They're like the Toyota Hilux of tractors, really. Okay, so let's have a look at a few things that are on here that are a little bit different. So you've got a Cat 1 hitch at the back. They've got nice bits and pieces already as standard. So you've got the PTO cover just for extra safety. You've got the top link strap that keeps it out of the way. You've got your additional hydraulic points for if you're running an implement on the back that needs those, like say a topper where you've got it at an angle, so you can move the toppers in and out and things like that. I might put a hydraulic top bar on that, but don't need it. Road registered, so you can drive these things on the road if you get your insurance and that type of thing. This is registered as an agricultural vehicle because I'm not really going to use it anywhere else. Now on here you've got a few nice features that are new. So as I mentioned, you've got the low, medium and high gears, obviously two-wheel drive, four-wheel drive. PTO has got a PTO eco mode, so you can run it at lower RPMs. So on the dash it's got a rev counter, and you can have the PTO spinning at 540 but the engine not killing itself to stay up, and that's great for doing things like topping, so you can use less fuel really. So as you can see on the dashboard, you've got the eco option and the full 540 PTO. The controls are pretty intuitive, very standard if you've had a tractor before, but some updates for newer ones, or people who are new to tractors. Obviously you've got your clutch, you've got dual pedals, so they're lockable together, which is the default, or you can have them so you can have steering pedals on there. Foot throttle, and you've got a hand throttle as well. So my old Kubota that I'll do a video of separately, you'll find that in the description, as hand throttle only. That's typically you'd set it with that if you're doing mowing or something like that. If you're bouncing along and your foot's on the pedal, it'll be a bit of a jerky ride. Dead comfy seat, adjustable forward and rear, and also for driver weight as well, so it gives you a little bit more comfort as you're bouncing along. You've got things like cup holders, phone holders, charger, so you can put your USB charger in for your phone. Seat belts obviously standard with these, and the rollover protection system and light is standard. The beacon light you can switch on from the display there, which is also next to the PTO override, so you can keep the PTO spinning whilst you're off the track, if I remember correctly. Down on the floor you've got your parking brake, and you've also got your transmission diff lock there to lock both wheels together on the rear if you're stuck in really muddy ground. Up at the front, really not too much to see from really in terms of serviceable bits and pieces, but your batteries underneath the front with a battery lockout. I'll show that in just a moment, but I've got the loader up in the air, so you don't want to be putting your arms underneath that whilst it's up. But on the loader itself, this, as you can see, is fully detachable. It's mounted onto the frame. It's an optional extra, but well worth it. So that's mounted onto the frame via some pretty secure bolts, and it's, even though it's a small tractor, this is a sturdy loader. A few bits to note is the loader can be completely removed. You can take off the bucket using the pins here. It's not the quick hitch connector. I think they call it as Euro buckets. It's their own one on these very small compact tractors, but you can quickly take it off. So if you didn't want the bucket because it's in the way off for transport, you can take it off. But equally for storage, if you didn't want this, say for the winter or something like that, you can take the whole loader assembly off, so you're just left with the mounting points. That's done by lowering the bucket onto level ground, putting these legs down, because it kind of pivots on the front bucket and these legs. I'll do a separate video on how that's done separately. It's a bit of a fag to do, to be fair. And once you've lowered it with a bit of a fiddling around on the loader controls, tipping the and curling the bucket on the front, then you'll be able to remove the locking pins from the side here. Now the controls for the loader, they are changing some of them around, so they've done several different versions of this, because either way they're in the way of you actually, so when you're trying to get in you'll clobber this. But they do on some of the other tractors, they have the loader control over here. I've seen some of them with slightly different variants of this, but you've got quick remove couplers, all color coded. And then once you've got this lowered onto the ground, you can pop those off and then basically reverse out of the loader mechanism, and then the loader stands on its own, which is quite handy. You still then got the controller and what have you in the way, which does kind of foul the rear, the side mirror there, but it's manageable really. So certainly the benefits of it outweigh the mild inconvenience of that. And on the machine itself, you've obviously got road lights, indicators, etc., everything that you need to use this. So in terms of a compact tractor, quite a pokey little machine. I'll put the specs down below in the link to Kubota's own video. Reason I've bought this then fundamentally is that I'm using this to do mowing of a very, very steep field. And my old Kubota, which I'll do a side-by-side comparison in a separate video, couldn't really cope with the horsepower of getting up the hill and safely. So this is a slightly bigger tractor, but still having a very, very, very low centre of gravity, because I didn't get a cab on top, so all the weight's still, you can see the size of that rear transmission is blooming enormous. You got decent ground clearance, more so I'd say than a BX series model, but it's not high up that it would feel tippy on uneven or steep ground. Same at the front, as you can see, you got good ground clearance all the way along, and nothing is going to get snagged particularly as you're going along. So this really is just for like small holding use, I would suggest. You can get this with turf tyres and with the sort of industrial tyres on the treads, but kind of if you're using a tractor of this sort of weight anyway, you're needing the grip, so the agri tyres are probably the ones to go for. If you're doing lawn work and you've got a nice pristine lawn, this tractor's probably too heavy for that, so Kubota do a range like probably the BXs or the GR series lawnmowers are the ones to go for. So fantastic little machine. I'm going to have a go with it and get familiar with its controls and sort of give you a few video updates. If you want to try one, I would highly recommend, my local dealers are brilliant. They actually bought it out to my property so I could try it on my property first and make sure I was happy with it before committing, because that's one of the difficulties. You don't really know what to do until you've actually had a go with it. So they will bring it out and do demos and show you how to use it, and that before you commit quite a sizable amount of money, in most cases, is well worth it. So well done to those guys, are fantastic, highly recommended. Right, I'm going to go and have a play. Thank you.